Hello YouTube, welcome back to my channel, and in this video I'll be giving you my first 48-hour impressions on the battery life of Xiaomi Mi Mix 3. The phone comes with Snapdragon 845, a 6.39 inches Full HD Plus screen, and a fairly average sized 3200 milliamp battery inside. To be honest, when I got the phone, I wasn't too optimistic about the battery life, but to my surprise, it has so far passed my expectations, and it's been a solid runner in the past 48 hours ever since I've been testing the phone. So without wasting any more time, let's quickly get into it. And in my typical fashion, let's get to gallery and see what data I've been collecting in the last 48 hours, like I said. So get into gallery, open this up. Okay, it's the very first screenshot. When I switched the phone on, guys, I've received this update. It was on 10.0 MIUI, and soon after the update it went up to 10.2.2.0. This also includes the updated Android security patch fix as well. Okay, so before we look at any further stats, let's very quickly go into settings and then about phone and see the core specs and what version of Android and MIUI we are running. As you can see, the device name is Mi Phone, obviously Mi Mix 3. That's the model number, Android Pie, which is fantastic out of the box. I love that. This is the latest version that Google has to offer so far. So as you can see, the security patch level is now almost updated. We are by almost at the end of March, so hopefully we'll get the March update very soon as well. MIUI, like I said, the global RAM 10.2, it was on 10.0 when I got the phone out of the box, so which is also now fully updated, and the stable global ROM. Model name, you can see CPU, like I said, Snapdragon 845, which is one of the very latest chipsets, if not the latest. 6 gigs of RAM. You also have an 8 gig version, but this version is 6 gigs, which is more than enough for any phone these days. 128 gigs of internal storage, and everything else pretty standard as normal. So now let's get into the gallery once more, guys, and in my fashion, like I always do, I'll show you a couple of screen on time shots and see what I've been collecting in the last few days. Okay, so here, this was my very first run on the phone, and by the way, my stats are only on Wi-Fi, not 4G. Like I said, this is the first 48-hour impressions, so the detailed version of this phone's battery life would be posted in about a week to 2 weeks time, when I've done everything, including the fast 18-watt charger in the box, the fast 10-watt wireless charger as well, and a couple of more stats in the days and weeks to come. So please do stay tuned. Here, as you can see, social media, WhatsApp, Play Store, YouTubing, camera usage, everything else. And in the first run, let's go back very quickly. There we go. Okay, so as you can see, I had the battery down to 47%, and after using it for 6 hours and 5 minutes and 8 seconds to be precise, and I had the battery fully charged up to 100%. As you can see, it was throughout Wi-Fi. Occasionally, every now and then, I did use GPS as well, but mostly the phone was awake and I was using it intensively and pretty much non-stop. And eventually I was able to get 3 hours and 6 minutes with battery down to 47%, which was fantastic. I never expected to get this much screen on time from a phone with a fairly big screen, and at the same time only a 3200 milliamp battery inside. Now, Full HD Plus AMOLED screen is still efficient, don't get me wrong, but it's a fairly big size still, and there are phones out there with Full HD Plus screens around the same battery size and still struggling to even make it to 4 hours, let alone 3 hours and 6 minutes only at 47%. Okay, here at night time on Friday 8th of March 1:21, I left the battery at 47%, obviously checking the standby time, and when I checked in the morning at 7:41, just over 6 hours, the battery had gone down to 41%. So as you can see, around 1% every hour, which is, I would suggest, a fairly average score. I've seen better definitely on many other Android phones, but it's not like a big massive drain which people often complain about in other phones. Xiaomi's MIUI is very efficient, also very well tuned and well optimized by Xiaomi. So far of all the Xiaomi phones I've used, standby has never been that much of a problem. Okay, the same run, I kept running the battery all the way down to 6%, as you can see, and the regular use, social media, YouTubing, WhatsApp, camera, Twitter, everything else and eventually after 16 hours and 46 minutes of heavy intensive usage, as you can see, I was able to achieve a total of 5 hours and 47 minutes of screen on time. And by the way, the brightness was kept around 60 to 70%. That's why I normally tend to keep my brightness, so it wasn't too bad. Okay, once again on 9th of March, Saturday, I once again tested the standby time on the phone. This time around the phone was around 44% at 0:43, which is just past midnight. And when I checked in the morning around 6 past 10, on the 9th of March, the battery had gone down to 37%. This was a bit more better than we had before in the previous screenshot. So like I said, standby normally it is not much of a problem on Xiaomi phones. Okay, eventually at 4%. This time around, by the way, when the battery was around 30%, I did use the camera very aggressively. Those of you who follow me, you must have seen a few video samples which I uploaded yesterday, and that's where I was using the camera very intensively. I recorded clips in 4K, in 1080p, both 30 fps and 60 fps, and for about an hour it was very heavy camera usage. And after using it with the camera mostly primarily, as that's why you can see in the right at the end there's a huge dip on the graph, and that just shows where I was very aggressive in the phone. As you can know, when you use cameras in the smartphones, the battery tends to go down really quick. Anyway, after 21 hours and 17 minutes of total usage, I was able to achieve a total of 4 hours and 39 minutes of screen on time. I can guarantee you that if I hadn't used the phone for camera at the end, this would probably easily last me over 5 to 6 hours of screen on time, like I showed you in the previous screenshot. And all this time the screen brightness was kept around 60 to 70%, so a fairly good result, keeping in mind that the battery is only 3200 milliamp and it's a fairly big 6.39 inches AMOLED full HD plus screen with Snapdragon 845 and 6 gigs of RAM, running on Android Pie and MIUI 10.2. So this was the first 48 hours impression on the battery life on the Xiaomi Mi Mix 3, guys. This is by no means a comprehensive video detailing everything else. I obviously haven't shown you the 4G stats, I haven't shown you the charging times, and plenty more to come. So please do stay tuned. There's a very comprehensive detailed video coming up. So if you like my video, guys, please give it a thumbs up. Any questions, please feel free to ask me in the comment section, and like always, please subscribe as it helps, and I shall see you in the next video.